Interesting. Dark Knight over Metropolis is probably one of my first introductions to your work, along with a Batman annual from a little bit beyond that.
Mhm.
I loved the dynamic between the frenemies of Batman and Superman. Because at the time it wasn't quite as they weren't quite bezies, they weren't quite best mates, but they weren't quite enemies. They were still quite antagonistic towards each other a little bit. There was a little bit of Batman takes a little bit of a rougher ride, doesn't he? Let's just say. And so,
I think there's a tension there. There is a great deal, at least the way I approach it, of mutual respect between the two, but also tension. And some of that is because they come from very, very different places.
see, may I interject? This is what I've been saying this for years. And I agree with the whole idea that Batman's the character, Bruce Wayne's the mask.
Mhm.
With Superman, and I was talking to Mark Waid about this a few years back. To me, Superman is clearly the mask because Clark Kent would run into a burning building even if he didn't have powers, because he's Clark Kent. That's the way he
Yes.
was, right? That's the difference between the two, for me.
Yeah. And I think, so even um, kind of jumping ahead on that though, but, uh, when they introduced Damian into the Batman books, I think that sort of defined a lot of who Batman was. That out of that sense, here was the world's greatest detective as a father who had no idea that he had a son.
That's a
Um,
big step for a detective, isn't it?
right, but non-involved, yes, but non-involved with Damien. Whereas uh, when I did the story where John is born and everything, Superman being much more involved, being involved to the extent that was formed very much by his experience growing up on the Kent farm with his parents, that then adds a different dimension to his character that also helps separate him and make him different than Batman. That if Batman does come from that dark side, if he's from the night and Superman symbolizes more the daylight, then the way they did or did not interact with their own sons as infants on through their childhood becomes very much a part of who those characters are and helps to differentiate those two characters.
I think I agree. It's great to hear. Absolutely. My wife and I, we've just started watching or rewatching Smallville.
Okay.
And we talk about Ma and Pa Kent and the relationship we see Clark on the farm. I mean, that's Smallville all the way, right? That's practically, well, when does he leave? 8, he moves to Metropolis. Season 8, he moves. So that's 7 seasons of On the Farm. Did you feel that Smallville, as I suppose the start of superheroes on TV, captured the best idea of Clark on the farm with his mom and pa?
Yeah, in a lot of ways it did. And it also, um, if you go back to the embryonic years of Superboy in
Wow.
the comics, where Lex
Oh,
Luthor was such a strong part of it,
yeah.
by having Lex Luthor and even his father be such a strong part of Smallville, that also added to that overall dimension and that feeling where these characters came from, and even Lana Lang, and then later introducing Lois and things like that. No, I have a lot of fondness for that series. They pulled off, I think, given a rather small budget for
Mm.
what it was they were trying to do, they pulled off a lot of really good stuff.